Hello, I'm Patricia, the Health Revolution activist and your wellness coach. Today, I'll be speaking to you about hydration.
When we think of hydration, we think of water, don't we? Water has become confusing for us in recent years, as well as big business for some. So, looking back when I was a kid, we drank water from the hose pipe, and very often it wasn't even our own hose pipe. We just weren't bothered or concerned. Now, we rarely drink water from our own tap. What has happened? Well, not so long ago, water supply to our homes was sourced from rivers and streams where the water flowing over rocks, probably since the beginning of time, was energized and enriched with minerals, which we call electrolytes. Well, what do electrolytes do? Well, your cells use electrolytes to conduct electrical charges, which is how your muscles contract, for one thing. Those same electrical charges also help with chemical reactions in your body, especially when it comes to hydration and the balance of fluids inside as well as outside of your cells. Today, water supply to our homes contains all sorts of added chemicals, which I don't think comes as much of a surprise. But we need chlorine to kill bad bacteria, or we would be at risk of serious bacterial infections. We need chlorine, but it evaporates. It does its job and it evaporates. You might remember as a kid, like I do, having a goldfish in a goldfish bowl, and the night before you went to collect your little fishy, you set out a jug of water to let the chlorine evaporate, and then you could plunk your little fishy in when you got home. And it was perfectly safe. Well, now one substitute for chlorine is chloramine. That's becoming very popular by water companies because it's less expensive and it does the job. But as well as just getting rid of the bad bacterias, it does not evaporate and it doesn't boil out or cook out. It's a serious endocrine disruptor, carcinogen, and can even erode the lining of the plumbing pipes in our homes. Erin Brockovich wrote a remarkable book called Superman's Not Coming, and she covers this in detail in her book. Well, I learned about chloramine during lockdown when I was teaching sourdough bread classes online via Zoom. We had the mums and the dads and all the kids together, so the entire families were together, which was great fun and a very big learning process in many ways. Well, there was one lady near Manchester who could not get her sourdough starter going. And a starter is made by mixing flour and water, and then you leave it out for about 5 days. And you can see each day more and more bubbles are forming. And that's naturally because the naturally occurring yeast and bacteria are activated by the water. Wheat is covered with good natural bacteria and yeast. So even when it's ground into flour, those yeast and bacteria are there just waiting to be hydrated so they can come to life. Well, we went through numerous phone calls and Zooms trying to figure out why she couldn't get her starter going. Kitchen temperature, all sorts of things. And finally, I suggested bottled water, which I am not a fan of, but we had to get to the bottom of it. And lo and behold, she got results. She was away. Marvelous results. So that was a lesson that she probably had chloramine in her water. And an interesting side note is she'd been trying to get pregnant for years. So I need to check with her and see how she's getting on with that now. But when you're making sourdough starter, you want to grow bugs, the good bugs, the essential bugs. Now, if it's going to do this to flour, let's look at what lack of hydration and good hydration is doing inside our body. Well, we normally drink water because we're thirsty. We drink water to stop us becoming dehydrated. Other reasons you might consider upping your hydration is if you're experiencing lack of energy, sort of fatigue, dry skin, higher than normal heart rate, headaches. How many headaches can be alleviated by drinking a glass of hydrated quality water? So many people that I've helped have stopped taking ibuprofen or medications for headaches simply by being properly hydrated. And then erratic blood pressure can be a sign of dehydration. Constipation can be alleviated with proper hydration, not just having a glass of water and gulp it down once or twice a day, but pacing yourself throughout the day to have 2 liters of quality water and see if that helps. If you or somebody is dealing with constipation issues, because you don't want to hold on to those toxins. Stiff joints can be alleviated with proper hydration, and we'll look at that in a little more detail in a minute. Muscle cramping as well, and increased weight gain. So, if you're properly hydrated, you will probably notice an increase in energy, improved skin quality, better heart health, certainly better mental focus and alertness, regulated blood pressure and body temperature. Proper hydration can aid digestion and nutrient absorption. If we don't absorb the nutrients, um, we're not getting the benefit. And enhance joint and muscle tissue health and helps manage weight. Now, when you look at the fact that our bodies are 60% water overall, that really brings it into perspective. Your brain is 73% water, lungs, surprisingly, 83% water, and your blood, a massive 95% water. And to put this into further perspective, we can go without food for about 2 months, but we could only go without water for about 3 days. So look at these areas where water plays a significant role. Now, keeping membranes moist, I'd like to focus on that for just a minute. So viruses are popping up again, as they always do, and upper respiratory viruses in particular, like a dry throat, so they can go straight to your lungs and get to work. So when you have a moist throat, the mucus ushers the viruses into your stomach, or the acid will destroy them. And now, catch this, hormones and neurotransmitters are manufactured in your brain. So we saw that our brain is 73% water. If we want to keep those hormones and those neurotransmitters functioning properly, we need to be hydrated. And we see that water acts as a shock absorber for the brain and spinal cord. It also converts food to components needed for survival, for digestion. It helps deliver oxygen all over the body. And here we see that it lubricates joints. It also flushes body waste out of our body, mainly in urine. But if you're one of those people who rightly so focuses on detoxing, maybe on the weekends, maybe you go to a detox spa. If you're detoxing and you're not properly hydrated inside your cells, that's where the toxins reside. You're not flushing them out. Your cells can release them, but they'll just go somewhere else. You have to flush them out. So you have to do that from inside the cell. And also it helps with the formulation of saliva. So the digestive process begins, it really begins when you're shopping and you get home and you start chopping and start stirring and you start to smell what you're cooking, and you've probably sensed your salivary glands. Maybe when you're in a restaurant, you can just sort of these lovely smells and you're reading the menu and you're starting to get hungry. Well, we need water to actually help with that digestive process, which begins before we're even looking at a plate of food. So lots of reasons to stay hydrated. Now look at this illustration of a dehydrated cell, an unhealthy cell, compared to a healthy hydrated cell. So when the cell is shriveled up, those neurotransmitters that we spoke about can't connect. They can't fire and connect where they're meant to go. I've seen live blood analysis, and when blood cells are dehydrated, they stick together and they can't move about like they're meant to. So intracellularly is where the damage happens. So this is where you need to hydrate, detox, and repair. That's a very sort of intimate process that needs to take place 24/7. So what now? Well, most people have water filters. Are they really helpful? People have been asking me for many, many years what water filter I use, and I still say none. All the water filters I see strip everything out. And I began looking into water quality about 15 years ago after living outside Taunton, which is a town in England, in Somerset. And the water we had was naturally filtered from the Blackdown Hills, which my mother in law hastened to point out to me with great pride. It tasted gorgeous. It was crisp. It had a certain viscosity. If I say it tasted sweet, I don't mean sugary sweet, but it just was gorgeous. And if you live in Glasgow, to me, it tastes like water in Glasgow. My daughter lives in Glasgow, and I enjoy visiting her for many reasons, but I enjoy her water. Well, 15 years ago, I had to go back to America to look after my mom, and the contrast in water was stark. The water was awful. It tasted awful from the tap, and I could hold up a glass of water and actually see bits in it. And the bottled water craze had just taken over. When I left in, I think, 1997, bottled water was available as a convenience, but it wasn't mass marketed like I was seeing now in sort of 2010. Um, and so everybody had water filters. We had a household water filter, and they just used cheap salt to filter the water. So the water actually tasted salty, and it was the bad salt. It wasn't pink Himalayan or a nice Celtic salt. So I had that removed from the house. Um, and a lot of people were having water delivered to their homes as well as their offices. And I was used to seeing water coolers in offices, but to have them in your home just seemed silly. And I remember the first time I tasted reverse osmosis water. It one sip and my mouth just went dry. And I did that over and over again to see if it was linked to something I'd eaten. Even now, there's a cafe right outside my door, and they always give us a big jug of water when we go for a meal. And one sip, and my mouth is dry. And he confirmed they have reverse osmosis. Same thing with distilled water. So all the filter water filter systems that I find strip out all the bad stuff, which is a good thing, but they also strip out all the good stuff. So you're left with empty water. Water is meant to absorb. Running over those rocks that I mentioned actually absorbs minerals. If it's not running over rocks in rivers and streams, what is it absorbing? What is this empty water absorbing in the plastic bottles it's in? What is it absorbing when it's sitting in that plastic jug? What is it absorbing when you're drinking it? Well, one thing, the rivers and streams have toxins, which we know about. Part of it is runoffs from farms that spray glyphosate, toxins from household waste, toxins from rain, toxins from water companies. There's I think, a three-part BBC series here in England of what the water companies are doing. It's quite shocking, but it's very eye-opening. So water filters strip everything out of water, leaving it free of toxins, but also free of electrolytes. And another property that water needs for us to utilize it, as we've seen, is having proper osmolality level. When osmolality is too high, it slows hydration. So a lot of the hydration drinks that are on the market will have sugar and salt used as electrolytes. And again, that's the cheap, nasty sugar and the cheap, nasty salt. And they have their own problems. And when the osmolality is too high, then they're just not efficient. So I have some good news for you now. A cutting edge hydrating drink is coming to the UK and the US as well next month. So let's look at what this truly essential water does. Well, they begin by completely stripping everything out of this water, which gives it a 99.999 pure medical grade water. So a lot of the water filters don't strip out glyphosate, they don't strip out the heavy metals, they don't strip out deuterium. So this water begins with nothing detectable in it at all. And then they go a step further by putting electrolytes back in. Water the way it was, but it goes a massive step further. It has glycine added. Well, what is glycine? Well, it's the main amino acid in collagen. Our body makes 28 types of collagen. Glyphosate, which is sprayed on your food unless you already know about it and eat an organic diet, greatly affects our body's glycine production. So glyphosate hijacks our body's glycine molecule. Maybe you've heard of glutathione, which is our body's master antioxidant. It got a lot of press during lockdowns, but you can't really take it as a supplement. We're talking about here the glutathione that your body makes. And it's made up of cysteine, glutamate, and glycine. Glycine is important for sustaining many body functions, and we need to help it any way we can. So here we see collagen, and the main amino acid in collagen is glycine. So here our body has 28 different types of collagen, and they all rely on glycine, which again is their main amino acid. So which areas of significance speak to you or maybe someone you know? So our brain is 80% collagen and it's 73% water. Our eyes are 90% collagen. Our gut, which includes our skin, 75% collagen. Bones, 90% collagen. Tendons, 85%. Ligaments and cartilage are 70% collagen. And our libido is linked to collagen. So I hope you can see the correlation here between properly hydrating your cells so that you can flush out the toxins when they're released. You can see how this hydrating drink with added glycine boosts your body's production of collagen as well as your body's production of glutathione. So I will show you this quick slide from the study that's been conducted. It's being written up, so I have this one slide from it. This shows this hydrating drink with water. So water, it almost, it hydrates for about an hour with a minimal increase. It's barely detectable, and then it drops off. With this hydrating drink, within that first hour, it's starting to hydrate, and then it goes up massively. So the blue line is the water, and the blue line is the hydrating drink, and the red is ordinary water. And then a rapid hydration index, which you can see here. Water that we drink today, this is not the ancient water with the naturally occurring electrolytes. This is filtered water, bottled water. All the tap water is a steady negative decline, but the truly essential hydrating water shoots right up. And we're not saying that you need to drink this water exclusively all day long. If you have a health concern, it's suggested you start with 2 cans a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. And if you just want to hydrate, you can just drink 1 can a day. It's working for hours and hours, and then you just drink whatever water you want. Now, the electrolytes we have in this are magnesium, potassium, chloride, calcium, glycine, and taurine with 0 salt, 0 sugar, 0 caffeine, 0 calories. A slight lemon taste, a slight sparkling. There is a sweetened and an unsweetened. It's very slight sweet, and it's a healthy sweet. So there's nothing bad in here. It's all good. So I will end now and be in touch with whoever shared this video with you, and they will send you a free case, full size cans, so you can try it for yourself. Bye for now.